Yeah, yeah. Is it not? That'd be loud. Why is this not? There it is. Can you hear it? There we go. Okay. Audio doesn't sound good. Is that? How are we doing now? Check, check. Microphone check. How's that sound for you? Does it sound like? Right. Okay, then it's not just me. Cool. Well, we'll figure it out. Good thing. Come on, cooperate with me, your old buddy. I'll try to switch, but I don't think it does that any. Come on. Okay. Well, then that part is good. But will we be able to hear any of this? Welcome, everyone. Working out a little bit of audio. Clearly, we need to maybe adjust the light a little too. Oh, wait, so that. Oh, okay. I really give myself good. Nothing. Just this. Just figuring out what's connecting where, what's going where. All right, looks like they're popping in. Hey everyone, what's up? Sorry, bro, little slow start. Just trying to figure out about audio and everything. Let's see. Can you hear that music? I hope you can. Yeah. All right. Well, that's just gonna be a little too chaotic to read with, though. So let's see if we can hear this music. How is everyone? Happy Wednesday night, everyone. I hope you're all so very excited to get started on Ophiel's art and practice of talismanic magic. Hope everyone liked art and practice of the occult. It's pretty fun. I thought so, anyhow. Fun book, fun process, getting it up. All right. Everybody doing all right on the audio? One sec, I got to switch to where I can see the chat. So nothing, no chat. Where? All right. Well, you know something? I know we will. Thank you, I'm sure be honest. Okay, you can hear this one too. Go out of the room real quick and then try it. How's that? Here, I'm gonna try this. Boom. Okay, we are so close. So very close to beginning. Happy Wednesday evening. We already said that. I hope it was a good day for you all. Hope it's a better evening. A little bit. Okay, well, we'll just have to, we might just have to go with it. Actually, you know what? Here, let me see real quick, and I'll try it out. Welcome, everyone, just piling in. Make sure to hit that like button. I'm just figuring out now. Huh, well. All right, well, we might just have to go with it like that. Okay, so welcome. We are going to do tonight the foreword and the first chapter. It's about 20 pages. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited. The PDF is pinned there in the chat. Follow along. All right. You know what's so cool in Ophiel's books? How he has the this so you can color them in, but I just think nobody ever did. Maybe somebody's got some books out there they colored themselves, or when they got a used copy that actually was colored in. All right, talismans. Personally, I'm very excited to see what is in store. What Ophiel would like to teach us about the magic of talismans. Let's see. I need to get us just a little more light, and then we can begin. That's better, huh? Okay. What a blessing to have you all here. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Let's begin with this. Thank you. Thank you, Winfrey Bubbles. Yeah, I think that helps. Perfect. Okay. This book is lovingly dedicated to the great unknown, from which all things, including physical goodies, come. May we all learn to grapple with the great unknown and force it to give us its secrets, as it will never do so of its own accord. Do to it, students. May this book be of help to you. Ophiel, Hollywood, 1973. All right. Forward, welcome, welcome. If you're just coming in, be sure to hit that like button. Right. In choosing the subject of talismans for a book on the subject of the occult, it would seem as if we were returning to the age of the Renaissance, and even before that, for the setting, knowledge, and material. I am hoping to handle the subject in such a manner so as to bring talismans up to date, to explain a present use for them, and to also explain their use in the past and how that past can be of value today. It appears that in older ages, talismans were used widely and wisely. Although I am unable to prove or demonstrate any actual effect a talisman had upon the life of any one person, there must have been some good effects, or they just could not have remained in existence. This would be shown by the old cliche law: where there is smoke, there is fire. I have made as best an examination as I could of the examples of talismans, samples shown in the few books available to me without extensive, prolonged research, provided provided definite provided definite evidence of having derived their origins from the Kabbalah system. This is what I expected to find, and thus I was able to reconstruct most of the old ideas on the basis of talismans, and then to bring these basics on down to today, and what I hope will be a very comprehensive understanding of occult principles over and above the ordinary limited idea of a single talisman for a single purpose. So much for this book. Now I crave your indulgence to go a little farther afield. When I started my work on the occult 40 years ago, the whole matter was very hush, hush, in spite of all, very hush hush, in spite of all that had been done by the Theosophical Society. Anyone suspected of being an occultist was considered a fool, or worse, my gnosis. Yo, welcome, welcome, bro. So good to see you here. Well, this is only the second one, so I'm glad you're here joining us. How are you this evening? Let's see, I shouldn't stop mid sentence. That was worse right there, I remember. And I did not miss my share of it, especially by my family and square relatives. It did get under my skin a bit, as I was, unfortunately, younger and sensitive. Now I am older and hardened. Okay, I'm gonna redo that one. Zero, what up? What up? Yo, yo, welcome, welcome. So good to see you guys here. So much love to you all. I hope it's a pleasant evening for you guys. It was a rough start, so it's best that you came at this point, trying to figure out the audio. Hey, can either of you guys hear this music in the background? Hmm? Yeah, but I know yours kind of cancel it out better. I've noticed. Because like I've noticed when I listen on those, I don't hear it as good, and then with other ones I'll hear it. So I'm gonna see what the fellas say. Well, they'll let me know. I know they will. All right, we'll redo that one. When I started my work on the occult 40 years ago, the whole matter was very hush hush. In spite of all that had been done by the Theosophical Society, anyone suspected of being an occultist was considered a fool or worse, and I did not miss my share of it, especially by my family and square relatives. It did get under my skin a bit, as I was, unfortunately, younger and sensitive. Now I am older and hardened. All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. Can you hear the music in the background? Minosis or zero? I'll continue for now. Nowadays, I am contacted daily by younger people, men and women. Okay, thank you, Minosis, who are working hard for more and more occult knowledge, and at a much younger age than when I started. Something is in the air. I see. I see. The typos in here can really get you at times. I don't know, or I don't know. Maybe it used to be said that way instead of something in the air. They used to say something is in the air. Okay, Zero, you can't hear it much either. All right, I'm gonna try. See something real quick. So last Thursday, Republicans. Oh boy, yeah, you should be able to hear that. All right, how about this? Can you hear this? Nothing, nothing. Well, you know what? We might just have to live without it on this one, and then I'll try to work that out on the next go around. Maybe if I bring this up closer, that might help too. All right, well, okay, sorry to keep you waiting. Figure it out in the interim. Okay, something is in the air. Right. Younger people come in, asking, writing into Ophiel, asking all kind of questions, needing all kind of help, as well as probably, being worried about what people are suspecting. And it seems like we could be potentially headed into a situation like that once again. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say what the future holds. No sense in panicking, worrying about it when you don't know. But, all right, still don't. Well, hmm. I'm not, I don't think I'm going to be, maybe. Hold on. I will. I'll try it. Let me try something real quick again. Okay, how's the audio sound now? Does that sound okay? Does it sound kind of like quiet, muted, weird? Sounds bad. Oh no, we don't want that. We better go back to how we were before and then just rock with it. Quit talking about it and just support you in the process. Good community that is interested in learning. Is that sounding better? That's back to where we were before. 2 thumbs up. Hearts, hearts, perfect. All right, hearts are good enough for me. Party, sick. Yes, indeed. Okay, so yeah, something in the air, definitely something in the air currently too. It seems that's cool though. That's what the air does. It carries stuff around. In passing, although I hate to refer to the matter as it might be construed as though I approved of the use of drugs, I am wondering how much of this occult awakening the voice audio is not good for my gnosis, or is it back? I got I got one true goddess and 0. Okay. Well, I switched for a minute because I didn't know if it would be better to maybe like switch out of the headset, but that clearly wasn't the move, so I just decided to pop back on into the headset. It sounds good now. Thank you. Okay. All right. Tight. Thank you, Manassas. Okay. I'm wondering how much of this occult awakening is due to the unfortunate use of mind expanding drugs. I do not take any form of drugs, and either are illegal. There is no doubt, don't go and do it, that drugs of all kinds do affect the physical body, and through and through the physical body affect the etheric body, and so on up the list of inner bodies. And the effect so produced is the effect of centering the consciousness upon the middle pillar, which, as you should know from your study of the Kabbalah and the material in my book, The Art and Practice of the Occult, consists of nowness, isness, and awareness, which means simply that a person has a more or less direct contact with the Akashic records or reflecting ether, and can read past the records. This can also be done, and should be done, through meditation and normal occult practices with no strain. When done with drugs, it does cause a strain, which can weaken the physical body, even though the weakening is not as apparent immediately. The unfortunate uses the words, weaken the girders of the mind, and she says that once the girders of the mind are loosened, the mind begins to rattle about with goofy results. Oh man, oh man. Yeah, I'm not sure about the delay on the typing, but I know there is a delay on me saying what I'm saying and versus when you actually hear it. There's just like a few seconds of delay. As long as we're all good as far as the audio is concerned, then that's what's important to me. I don't think I want to really worry way too much about worrying about the music and everything. I mean, it would be great. It's nice to have in the back, but not in part of God's plan tonight. Speaking of which, speaking of God's plan, you guys want to see something so sick? Hold on, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna need to grab something. Let's finish this forward, and then I'll show you something so you're gonna love. Zero on my gnosis. I know you're gonna love it so much. That's just the facts. This ought to be cool. Okay. Okay, and that whole rattle about all of that. Sorry if you just heard that for a moment. The rattle about the. I think it's wise the way that they advise to not really have that be such a heavy part of your practice. The whole using substances. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that at all, but I'm saying you should know what you're doing. And you should use it for any of you who have already been tuning in with our Book of Five Rings read as a tool, as the according or appropriate tool according to the situation. So, and that's going to come from decent amounts of experience with both. If you're a person who's never ever done those kinds of things and you get involved in magic, I'm not saying it's a bad idea to then try them, but I'm saying that you probably still might want to have, you definitely probably want to have someone around who knows what they're knows what they're doing, can help you through the process, depending on whatever it is you are doing. But I think it is wise. I think it is correct to advise people to not do that, especially starting out, especially beginning. You guys, that we've talked about that, because it can be such a slippery slope. It definitely can. Oh, I've seen it, and it's a bummer. See, Zero says agree is not a joke. It's wonderful when you do the work correctly, right, Zero? Right, and that's why we work on those things like that simple stuff, getting our foundation solid, getting that shadow work taken care of, all of that, because otherwise you are probably going to have a bad time trying to get involved in these studies, practices. Similar with the whole not jumping right in with demons and that type of work right away. I don't think that it's wise to advise not to do any spirit work right away. What's up, sweetheart? But I think for any of the people out there who are saying it's fine to go with demons right off the rip, just go right for it. It's the amount of people who that's actually true for is like such an absolutely ridiculously small number. So it's best to not start out in that realm or with those types of things. And so I see where there's teachers out there, more popular teachers who suggest just not to touch it at all. And I think but also knowing how much magic they've done, how long they've been involved in it. I mean, unless they're like a complete and total charlatan, they've probably certainly done some types of stuff with all of that. And but they're going to understand like the actual ways to go about it, the actual reasons for going about it, all of that. And so I think it's not a totally bad idea to just kind of tell people stay away from it. It's just don't even go near it. Um, because frick, man, people don't people. People are gonna hear what they want to hear anyhow, so to speak. They're gonna because on the one hand they're gonna have certain filters they're always gonna be hearing shit through, and then on the other hand they're gonna always be or if they're already kind of have their mind made up like that they're gonna be like a demonologer and all that, then they're gonna just be looking for more people to they're going to be looking for the people who are like, oh yeah, go ahead, go just dive right in. It's cool. Yeah, it's a good. Who cares? It's anybody who says it's a bad idea doesn't know what they're talking about. Um, you know how that is. You know how that is. We've all probably been that way in our own ways and in life. It doesn't necessarily have to be regarding this, but where you're just looking for the person to give you the okay to do the stupid thing, the thing that you know is probably a stupid choice. But again, everybody's got to learn their lessons their own ways. And so start with the basics. Get that foundation. Get that shadow work. Oh, and let's continue because, oh boy, rattling about. No kidding, no feel. Lately, there has been a sort of series of occult issues under the title of Man, Myth, and Magic, which is a good example of what is definitely not myth, man, or magic. I have been keeping these issues for the record and to illustrate the wrong ideas abroad about the occult. In one of these articles about Madame Blavatsky, the author did say that she smoked hashish for many years, long before any notice was taken of those things. If she did this, and I believe she did, I knew she smoked, but not pot or hashish, then that is where she could have gotten all the insight that presumably went into her books and writings. Also, there is another well known book called The Varieties of Religious Experience, which I have not read, which experiences, I am told, were gained under the influence of drugs. I have reason to believe that drugs in raw form played a part in the past practices of the ancient religions, but for some unknown reason, no records were left of these practices, although it is apparent to me on ordinary study. I mention all this because I want to point out again to you students that no drugs are necessary for occult work or development. And that's a highlightable line, though, for sure. You definitely, it is not necessary. Much to do has been made lately about witchcraft, and oh no, always a fuss about that witchcraft. Oh yeah, I don't need him right now. It's been fine without it. Many women have been calling themselves witches, and some men warlocks and magicians. Right, my mouse is SOP. Shout out. Get the principle understood first. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But demons and spooky, scary stuff is sexy. I agree, and think is better. Don't use it because our body has the capability to be even than the drugs. Yeah, exactly, Zero. Exactly. Better than okay, better than the drugs. Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you don't need it. And we talk about the whole crutch thing because and that's where other than potentially also just kind of like frying yourself, so to speak, the it becoming a crutch because that can be so easy, so very easy. So it's best to get that foundation, those principles all taken care of before magic or even taking substances. Maybe you're somebody who just kind of is into this stuff as a like just kind of as an interest, but you're not quite ready to get your hands dirty, so to speak. Well, make sure, right? It's not necessary. Make sure you, oh crap, know what you're doing, know what you're looking for. Let's continue. At no time in history has anyone announcing themselves Has a witch or a warlock or a magician ever really been one? So be guided accordingly. All the above claims are just done by wishers and would-beers. Yes. But leave them alone. If they read Ophiel's books and learn to the Kabbalah system, they can gain a good degree of power. Who knows? Or can say for sure. They might even end up as a real magic worker of some kind. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about all that, Ophiel. But well, like I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, because whether they want to, it doesn't matter. A lot of people are all talk. They talk a good game, but some people really are out here doing it. But you can tell. I don't need to tell you guys that. Just the new people who aren't aware of that. Those new people who haven't ever gotten their hands dirty with magic or drugs. Well, research it. Like I said, make sure you know what you're doing. There's plenty of information out there. You can go look. Here's one place you want to be real careful looking though. Reddit or any other social media. I'll promise you that. Holy heck. But there's websites. They'll give you that kind of information. However, I would like to call your attention to several things and bring this book back to its subject of talismans. No, I did not forget. Well, crap, well, I almost did. We all almost did. All occult is the same, the basic same. There is a TV series, Bewitched, now running while this book is being written. 70 to 71. This series lets itself go wild with all kinds of effects, being show mostly in the nature of material transformations of a bizarre and startling nature, which naturally take place on the physical plane. Now, here let me inform you that such goings on are not, I repeat, not occult power work, nor magic work, nor witchcraft work in any way, shape, or form. The physical plane has its own transformation laws from which it will not deviate in the slightest degree. Please note the way magic, Kabbalah knowledge, magic, the way magic, Kabbalah knowledge magic works is through inner plane manipulations, according to the laws of the inner plane you are working on at that point and inner time. And these manipulations are reproduced by repercussion down to the outer physical plane and produce their effects there, the effects you desire to bring about. This simply is the way Kabbalah knowledge magic works. And this process is the basis for all work on talismans. Well, sick, we just read. Sorry. Sick, we just read that chapter on Malkuth. my nose. Woo! Hey man, I wouldn't judge you. I wouldn't judge you. I bet that there's some deep gnosis in that crack. It's a crack gnosis. It's I can't name his name right now. Chaos Magic guy. Libernal, Psychonaut, Peter Carroll. He's the one who coined the term chemognosis, I'm pretty sure. So that purposely using substances, chemicals to get gnosis. Pete Carroll, sorry, Zero. Pete Carroll did say in that book, though, he said LSD is not very useful for this purpose. Whoops. Swing and a miss. Okie dokie. I tell you, truly, that all the power that ever existed, physical plane power, and otherwise power, comes from the knowledge and working manipulation of the astral light by you. And until You know of this, you are a no thing in the world, buffeted about by your purely ignorant chance pressure contacts on the astral light, which then works willy nilly and produces all kinds of screwy results on the physical plane, which results you don't really want. So, to put it down simply, the thing to do is to learn all you can about the astral light and how to use / influence it. And once you get that, in some degree, you are on the way to goodness and rightness in your physical life. One other comment, though, I better make the the what he's saying about the people who call themselves witch or warlock or all of that, excuse me, aren't legit. However he worded it, that's I would say I disagree with that. I would say there's definitely practitioners out there who are, not really doing things like Kabbalah, um, ceremonial type work. Like they're pretty much just doing straight up witchcraft, like folk magic, um, and still though they could, because within some of those like the old Gemma Gary has got this book, The Devil's Dozen, and it's those types of rites, like these witchy old craft type rites that are supposed to kind of like that progressively as you go through them, you know, take you to the garden of the hoofed one to dance and just all that, just that sick, that super cool like witch style gnosis. So I beg of you, dear students, not to become impatient with your teacher when he seems to continually harp upon certain rather narrow subjects, such as this astrolight and the planes and the multiplicity thereof. You should rejoice that the actual basic truths that you have to learn / master are so few in number and really easy to learn, as you will find in this book about talismans. Instead of giving you a lot of junk about talismans, about how to make a talisman for gambling, etc., without explaining a damn thing about the inside machinery of what makes the talisman work, you would get some worthless information that might or might not work, and probably wouldn't. Whereas, I repeat, as I will teach you in this book about talismans and their connections with all other basic occult knowledge, you can then construct your own talisman correctly from the start. And you should make a talisman that will work. That'll be helpful, huh? All right. Cracknosis. That's going to be my first hit song. Also, please remember that Ophiel is not so young anymore. He does not expect to pass on immediately, but you had better get your personal lessons / contacts going, since he won't live forever. And when he does go, much personal information will be lost unless he can find a successor for which he is looking. Uh, I do wonder about that though with Ophiel and like some of his stuff, but I just haven't looked into it myself. So, okay, so before we start, and we won't take too long on it. Holy heck, 44 minutes already, 6 pages. Boy, we gotta get moving. No, well, come on, we had to figure out about that audio, and that was annoying. All right, so I found this yesterday at a local thrift store. You guys are gonna love it. You guys are gonna. Boom. Oh, I better scoot us back a little bit. All right. Bhagavad Gita as it is. This hardback, so beautiful, this brown and this gold. But then you open it up, just so much. There's just like all this beautiful artwork here in the beginning. Right. Let's see. Is it really? Yeah, this one right here, Krishna. Just tattoo that on my back. See the anybody see a similar theme? Does that remind you guys of anyone else? This is yeah, this is so cool. I think so. See, because how we've been kind of doing the side quest thing, that's why I think it would be cool to mix in certain books like this. Do a little fiction from time to time, like I was saying, because like the hidden the hidden kabbalistic symbolism, like especially in Tolkien, but like also definitely some of these other books is nuts. Like when you start rereading it, and oh man, blow your lid wide off. So some stuff like that on the side for the side quests, I think would be fun. But we don't want to get way too ahead of ourselves, right, dude? Right. I have a paperback one too, but then that I saw that yesterday and I said I'm gonna need to grab that because it was such a good price, right? Yeah, I love Krishna too. Thank you. Yeah, Krishna's dope. I really like meditating on the Maha mantra, the Hare Krishna one. Okay, so you guys ready to get it going then? I know y'all. I know y'all. I'm just putting the dust jacket back on this, and then we will get it going. Oh, I'll have to send you guys too. There's this book on the. I've been meaning to send the two of you to check out. You're going to definitely want to read. Check this one out though, real quick too. All right. Okay, let's get this going. Thank you all for being here. It's great. It's great to have you guys here with me. Little little bumpy getting going, figuring out about all the stuff like the audio and the camera. But luckily, I was able to, since on that tarot read, I wasn't able to live stream from the mobile for whatever reason, so I had to do that one off the laptop. But here we are. We got it already, just in time too. But I never doubted it. Never doubted it 1 minute. Okay, so what is the talisman? The slash an instrument used by occultists of all kinds, from holy saints to unholy devils, used the world wide over, used throughout all history, is the occult tool called a talisman. The object of this book is to delineate as clearly as possible what a talisman is, what it is good for, how it is made, how it is used, and to answer some of the why of it all, and to delineate all this as clearly as possible so that you may know and benefit from this knowledge to the best of your ability to do so. Ophiel is beginning to find in the further teaching of the occult and writing books on the occult that that a rather peculiar thing is beginning to happen. It seemed as if Ophiel was becoming repetitive, but upon study, it really isn't so. The real reason appears to be that the occult is very different from any other thing in the world, different from any other peculiar type of knowledge in the world. It is just simply vastly different. Yeah, it is. Zero says one time I tried to contact him and feel admiration and love in such a deep, deep sense. It was amazing. I feel so protected. Heck yeah, you are, Zero. Most definitely. Yeah, I love that Krishna energy is definitely a good one. Nice one to meditate on, to sit with. Another very strange fact about occult knowledge is that true occult knowledge consists of only a few basic truths. That is, there are only a few big things that are true. You don't have a whole universe of truths that are all opposed to each other, because if you have two truths, what do you have, Ophir? And they are absolutely different. Well, then, they are not truths. I wouldn't think so. All right. The occult then consists of endless, multiple, manipulative manifestations, combinations of a few basic truths. Of course, the multiple manipulations of these basic truths do fill the whole universe, and you never can possibly reach the end of these universal combinations. As I said, and I have said this before, the kind of occult truths that we are dealing with pertain entirely to the physical plane manifestations. That is, the manifestations outside of the original, what was before the physical. The previous existence now appears as a sort of mental idea that there is an inner universe and an outer universe, although that is not stated very clearly still. Try to grasp those ideas and hang on to them. Right, as within, so without. Microcosm, macrocosm. We are dealing in the occult book with the outer universe, not the inner. Whatever that inner may be, the outer universe is what is before Kether. See the art and practice of the occult. Hey, we just read that. We want to learn about the outer and learn to handle it. It does appear, and as I say, I have said this before, that the outer does have a few rules and stipulations governing it. These rules and regulations are based on knowledge, and if you learn them reasonably well and use them reasonably well, you can achieve quite a degree of outer plane physical success, for want of better words for it. So Phil right now is even saying in his own way some of that SOP, as he's just letting you know that whole polarity of planes. You might as well just tell him to look into this. He might as well just say, go look into the seven hermetic principles real quick. Again, pleading my former statements of repetition, the talismans which you are going to, the talismans which you are going to study now are given, now are again based upon the few basic occult truths that you had previously. There are only four forces that govern the physical plane universe. There is actually a fifth force, but it is extremely elusive and does not enter into ordinary calculations. But you will use it later on. Ophiel even saying you got the 4, you got the hidden 5th, huh? However, its use is very ephemeral, and although I have never run across any exact dangers, I always have the feeling that if this 5th elemental force were really used, a lot of trouble could come out of it. Unwanted trouble. So just be content to think about 4 forces and keep in the background of your mind that there is a 5th. Heck yeah. That reminds me, actually, I was gonna bust this out in the beginning, but man, I'm gonna bust it out now and see. Did any of you guys do this yourselves? So we got boom on the one side, and then over here, boom on the other side. Then here, boom. Okay, nice. So remember that blue and orange circle that was air, right? This one here, the green and red with the triangle for fire. Okay, cool. Light blue and yellow. Man, I was so annoyed though. I accidentally threw that line up there. Oh well. That blue and yellow, earth, right? Four sides, square for our dear, dear, sweet Mother Earth. Okay, boom. Then the other one. Okay, and then here, last one. Boom, water. That half moon, and then oh no, onto the other side. Okay, do this yourself. That's why I'm showing you this because I want to spark that inspiration for you to do it yourself because then you can set those up and use them to do flashing color meditations. But also just the process of doing it, I don't know, it was really interesting. It was really interesting. I mean, if you do it yourself, you'll have to let me know what results you find. But I definitely found that as I was doing each one, I would sort of feel definitely a more kind of heavier presence of that particular element. All right, though, let us continue. In the manufacture of talismans, as I said, you must have had a suspicion that these talismans were based upon the 4 elemental forces, because there just aren't any other kind of forces in the physical universe. Yeah, come on, we already knew that, right, guys? You didn't have to tell us. No, we do for all the new people. Welcome. We're happy to have you here. And now you've learned, now you have just found out that you're not going to find not anything else other than those elemental forces. One of the basic ideas of making a talisman is to bring yourself into harmony with those forces by understanding what you are doing. As soon as you understand a little bit about it and what you are doing it for, it makes a tremendous amount of difference in your physical plane activities. So, to start, the general idea of a talisman, held by the average occultist, is that a talisman is something, maybe a drawing, perhaps an object, which, when held in the hand slash ownership of and by a certain man, will, through innate Powers vested in the talismanic object bring certain specialized results to the man/owner. I'm excited. I'm excited to mess into this. How on point too, right? With all the elemental stuff, the Kabbalah, so even with the planetary stuff. Oh yeah, we're gonna get it this year for sure. We're gonna get it. Oh, looking back, when we're walking into 2026, those of us still with our head on our shoulders, we're gonna say, "Wow, dang, that was a good year. Look how that all came together real nice, real nice, like a beautifully crafted Lego kit, piece by piece. It falls into place. Well, that one you more kind of put it into place yourself. Some things fall into place, right? It just depends. With these talismans, though, I don't think too many things are just going to be falling anymore. It seems like we're about to really have our say in the matter. All right. The above is not too bad a definition and fairly covers the basic, general idea of talismans. And so much for this basic idea. What is the truth? The truth, again, is another matter, or rather, shall we ask, how does a talisman actually work in practice? That's a great question. The answer to this question is a properly made talisman can work, can do its a job for you. However, there are definite basic limits to the power of a talisman, and indeed to all occult powers, as to how much outer world changes can be brought about through magic of any kind, including so-called black magic, great, terrific changes, such as a talisman, enabling you to become president of the United States overnight, are, in all common sense, out. Yeah, so maybe don't. If, I don't know, you really, let's see, what's something most everybody's flustered about right now? Whatever that thing is, I don't make a talisman for it. Instead, study into the principles, the foundations, mechanics of the cosmos, the influences that come from elementary sources, excuse me, sources, as well as planetary sources, even zodiacal sources. But I think the most important source is the one that's always looking you right back in the mirror. Again, if we just really sit and with that source and take a good hard look and say, hey, do we really need to be getting so upset about this thing everybody's getting so upset about? Because I'm feeling really upset about it. You'll probably end up saying to yourself, man, why are we doing this? I get it. There's lots of things to be upset about in the world. The point is, don't, say you're really upset about, maybe the current POTUS, POTUS. I don't think a talisman to change that's probably going to do too much. However, you could probably make a talisman that would be more connected to whatever influence it is that's actually got you so upset about that. Thank you, Zero. Thank you. Let's continue. On the other hand, a talisman made with the general purpose intention of enabling you to, say, have more interest in your profession will, when properly made, work and be fairly easy and simple to make. It might be right and conducive to fuller understanding at this point to put down a complete dictionary definition of a talisman and see how it differs from our usual idea of what a talisman is and does. Talisman, French, through Spanish and Italian. French, Arabic, tilasm, tilsam, Greek, telesma, payment completion, Latin, Greek, an initiation, incantation, French, telin, to complete initiate. 1. A figure cut or engraved under certain superstitious observances of the heavens, supposed to act as a charm. 2. Hence, something that produces extraordinary effects, especially in averting evil, an amulet, charm. Right, a popular one that pretty much everybody knows is the evil eye, right? Those blue evil eye, they make them in bracelets, necklace, all kinds of stuff. But it's because it is a very powerful and effective, at least in my understanding, is what people say, but I've never really looked into it. Um, a powerful and effective talisman that actually is rather old. I don't know how old, but it dates back to some type of that was old and is but very powerful and effective as like right zero, like an energy shield, is repelling that one in particular to repel the evil eye, which can come, it doesn't have to come about from somebody intentionally sending the evil eye to you. You can get the evil eye from just from like jealousy is a good example of something that can get you the evil eye without the person even meaning to put that on you or like you um, knowing about it, seeing it coming, really, because a lot of people also aren't running right out talking about their jealousy, especially to whoever that person is that they're jealous of, So that's going to be one of those ones that's done in secret. That's one of those secret evil eyes. Okay, so note the words payment and completion in this definition. In all the ordinary ideas of a talisman, the idea of a payment or a completion has never entered into it before. What do these words mean? I do not want to make a mystery out of these words. It is my intention to make all the knowledge I have about talismans freely available to you, but I cannot go into it fully at this point, as there are some other things that have to be considered first. Therefore, will you keep these words in mind for now? Later, in the proper place, I will bring them back into the information/knowledge. Another dictionary definition is as follows. So we need to keep payment completion in mind for later. Payment completion. Should we write it down? Nah, we'll remember. Okay. So another dictionary definition is as follows. A stone ring or other object engraved with figures or characters supposed to possess occult powers and worn as an amulet or charm. Anything whose presence exercises a remarkable or powerful influence on human feelings or actions. What's a funny story is I had one I had made that was just a little paper one I had made um, that was kind of like healing and protection type one, and I had like laminated it with some tape, and I carry that. I mean, I had that talisman. I probably carried that thing around for like a year and a half. Till one day it fell out of my pocket at work, and I wouldn't have known about it, but like another coworker had found it and picked it up and looked at it, and I had like sigilized on the front, and they were staring at it with this weird look on their face, like, "What is this?" I never snatched something so quick out of somebody else's hands. I said, "Whoa!" I said, "That's mine." "What is that?" "Oh, it's a drawing and a very important love note." But then it made me sad because then they were like, I wish I had an important love note to carry around. Oh. And now, the thing is, I wrote myself that love note, so write yourself a love note, carry it around. And now, from the occult viewpoint, just what is the definition of a talisman, apart from all other things? An acceptable definition could be an object, a physical object. I cannot imagine any other kind. A non physical talisman, for example, seems impossible to us, although there is some evidence that some kinds of things exist on the way through, to hear from the higher planes, in the physical presence of which certain definite actions take place, are completed. Or let us say the same thing as the above in a more romantic way. A talisman is any kind of a physical object which possesses magical powers to bring about certain desired physical happenings, and we should add, bring about desired physical happenings without too great a dislocation of all other natural forces now at work in our lives and circumstances, right? We know how important that is. This, then, is what a talisman is and what might be expected of its powers, and answers our first question. If you do not expect too much, as noted before, if you will study this talismanic art reverently and conscientiously, you should be able to do a world of good for yourself, to help yourself immensely. However, I again want to remind you that there are limits, definite limits, to what changes you can bring about in your life, especially changes in the love scene. For merciful heaven's sake, take it easy on the love stuff. Hey, take it easy on the love stuff. No way, man. That's why I had to wait so I could start this in the hour of Venus. Okay, said love does not bloom naturally. Practically nothing on heaven or earth can alter it. Love is a very screwy matter. Love can be forced, but the end is worse than the love gained is worth. Believe me. All of us are limited in our lives in some special way, and why this is so is beyond my feeble powers to know fully why. I have to accept it, and so do you. But all of us do have other fields which we can expand into, and an expansion into those fields can bring a lot of satisfaction, and perhaps, if handled correctly, might force a correction of the other big basic trouble which is holding us back. Of course, I do not mean for now that you can neglect your present means of support, which brings in your present basic food and shelter needs. This must be faced first. But some people have expanded themselves in other ways, and eventually one of these other ways did give them a new supply of income, and they ended up doing something entirely different as work from their original occupation, and reached a good degree of success in an all rounded way. So, therefore, expansion into these other fields can be helped by talismans. And again, I'll repeat, if the talismans are used judiciously and with intelligence, this help can be forthcoming and rather easily. Now, the question, how are talismans made? These exact working details are given later. Outside of those details, the answer is talismans for your use are to be made by you. You. No one can make a talisman for you. You might be trained or get some ideas from having a talisman made for you, but you should make it over again for yourself. by yourself as soon as you learn how to do it. Yeah, easy peasy. He'll explain why, I'm sure. In brief, then, and until more details later, as before said, a short summary of the making of a talisman consists of a series of definite works slash steps. The first step the first step in the creation of any talisman is the selection of what job the talisman is to do, perform. Once you know definitely the job and the results you wish to obtain from any certain talisman, the next step is the selection of the materials from which this talisman is to be made. Generally, the type of talisman governs slash limits the selection of the materials for it. Usually, however, there is a choice in that parchment can always be used in all talismans, and especially talismans of a non-permanent kind. Whereas for a permanent talisman you intend to keep for a long run pull, you may even want to make these of gold and silver, or one of the other less precious metals. More work and trouble, but maybe more efficient? I'd say. Well, it all depends, I guess. Once you've figured out what that job is, and then you tap into your library of correspondences, and yeah, the methods of how talismans are used. Here now is the heart of the matter. There are many, many methods of talisman use. Some ideas will be given here now, but again, the details reserved for the proper section they come under. Much foolishness has been given out about how to use talismans, but the simplest answer is use them, look at them, and mentally demand they work. Actually, the way talismans work is that they do their work while they are being made. Remember what I was saying about the drawings he wanted us to do from the last book? Remember the dictionary's definition of a talisman: a payment, a completion. When the talisman is made, the work it does is done at that time, subject to the aforesaid restrictions, and not much more work is necessary except to hold it in mind continually. That's pretty easy. At this time, I want to call your attention to a talisman of a slash the sort of general nature that I was speaking of before, which talismans you can make and have and use now. I'm referring to a talisman known as a birth talisman. You, each of you, should make, draw, paint, and use the talisman of your birth sign. The tendency of the continued use of your birth sign talisman is to bring you into harmony with your birth sign ruler and also the spirit and the intelligence of this ruling planet of yours. There are still on the market some books purporting to be about talismans and purporting to give some information about them. One of these books is called The Greater Key of Solomon. It also appears that the people who wrote these things down hundreds of years ago were not trying to be too explicit about these matters. because there are all kinds of gaps in the writing that you can detect if you know what you are looking for. Read the book. You'll notice it yourself, those little points where they skip over the details. In addition, there are many places where they put in false information. All that crazy talk about frog's legs and eye of newt and things like that, bat's blood and moss from a graveyard. All that sort of stuff was just put in there to throw off the dopes whom they didn't want to give any information to. Of course, these people just ran around in circles trying to get bat's blood and silly things like that and ended up nowhere, which is what the original writers intended. You, you gotta be kidding me, man. And been needing to go, I've been going down to the old caverns, rounding up all those bats I've been rounding up. You gotta be kidding me. Oh boy. I better let the frogs back out into the pond as well. How's everybody doing? Y'all hanging in there? I know you are. I'm doing my best. We're getting close. A few more pages. Considering how long that forward took, I'll say we're doing pretty good. Okay. What books we do have include The Greater Key of Solomon and also another smaller book called The Lesser Key of Solomon, Goetia. It appears basically that there was somebody by the name of Hans Sloane who lived in the 15th or 16th century, and he apparently was a tremendous collector. He collected a great number of these documents and then left them to the British Museum, where ooh, that's an interesting place for the page to have a little page, where they still are. Most of the documents are written in Latin. Now, this book does have some pentacles in it, and probably you ought to have the book for your research work to study these pentacles. But the pentacles here are actually nothing but basic patterns and merely suggested ideas. Each talisman is supposed to be quite different and quite personal to be made by you personally. So merely copying these things out won't do you any good. When you look at them, you will find that most of them consist of the basic elemental force symbols along with some other things that aren't quite so apparent. There was another writer on the occult called Francis Barrett, and he printed a book that was published in London in 1801. I fortunately have a copy of it. As a matter of fact, my copy was once owned by W. W. Westcott, who was a well known occultist of about the 1880s or 90s in London, one of the original Golden Dawn members. Francis Barrett gathered all of these things together. He must have been quite an illuminated man, and he put them down in his book, The Magus. His object was to reveal just enough to get people excited and keep the rest of the stuff back for himself, because I notice that many of the tables in my book have been corrected. I imagine that Westcott did the correcting, and I believe that Barrett deliberately put the wrong letters in the wrong places at the wrong times to throw things off. But, as I say, somebody corrected them. Man, why are they always doing that to us? Always trying to throw us off. That's okay. We don't, we just keep on going. I'm not worried about it. Throw us off. We find our way through. So as the good Lord intended, finding our way through this right here, right now. Zero, how you doing? You liking this one? Once your goddess, you liking this one? My Gnosis. You liking this one? If you guys are still here, that is. If you've gone, that's fine too. Hmm. Okay. I may be a little premature at this point in introducing the subject of spirits, but I'll have to get it in somewhere, so I might as well do it in these opening chapters. Yeah, might as well. Why not? Great portions of these books are dedicated to directions for contacting spirits. And of course, these spirits are interplane spirits. There's a tremendous amount of misunderstanding about this, and I don't even know how much I'm going to be able to dig out myself. In my book, The Art and Practice of the Occult, I have shown, according to the pattern of the Kabbalah, that the so called gods that we know about from past history are forces and combinations of forces. Again, those forces are the four elemental forces, and I repeat, combinations of the elemental force. Man, it is really good that we just read that one. That worked out so perfectly. I am not sure whether these forces can be personified or not. Probably. In the medieval ages, when these other things were written that I referred to, the people's minds were not really trained. In fact, great numbers of them couldn't even read or write, and knew nothing about history or anything else. Therefore, their minds were on these external things, spirits and talismans, to contact the spirits. And they used incense and oils and perfumes and apparatus and ceremonies and candles and lights and all sorts of things like that, which was of course to capture the attention of their subconscious minds. What they use all that stuff for? To capture the attention of their subconscious minds. It was through their subconscious minds that they came in contact with these forces, which again, I repeat, are combinations of the four elemental forces. Perhaps, by their own imagination, they did bring them into a kind of physical form, manifestation, and thus they could deal with them, and probably did deal with them. However, again, as I have said before, nowadays people's minds are pretty well educated and developed, and some people's minds are very highly developed. They do they do think by mental means, or as you might say, by metaphysical means. Yeah, in that sense for sure. Of course, the proponents of Christian Science have been doing this now for almost 100 years, or getting close to it. While they can't explain it or any basis, since they don't use a system, still some results, or at least some attention, has been directed to metaphysical means instead of physical means. Okay. However, if you want to play around with these other ceremonies, set up an altar in your home. Set aside a place and dedicate it and sweep it clean. You have to keep it perfectly clean, it says in the books, and perfume it and have a light burning there and have some symbols of the elemental forces: a small sword, a wand, a cup, a pentacle or disc. Why you why? You can do that too. Maybe it will strongly reinforce your mind and there is no harm in it, but it is not really absolutely necessary. If you want to do it, then do it. Study all of the ceremonies there and improvise something to suit your present circumstances. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it is good to do those things because, as you're saying, it's going to give certain little subconscious triggers, which can be very helpful. Okay. Then there appears to be something else that was done along these lines. They frankly admitted that some of these were good spirits and some were bad spirits, not knowing exactly what they mean by spirits. I suppose they mean entities of some kind. Again, apparently there was some sort of method of furnishing the spirits they were trying to contact with bodies composed of incense particles. And in the case of the worst ones, they slaughtered something alive and spilled the blood, and used the energies in the blood to furnish a body. Now, frankly, I don't know anyone, or I don't know anything about either of these things, and I don't know anyone who does. If you really know of somebody who does it, let me know. I'll contact him and see what I can find out. I just don't know anyone who does that or goes to that trouble anymore. Because most of the time, things are done mentally. Right. That's what we've been saying about making sure you're doing your work on those inner planes, astral planes, as well as the physical plane. Again, I repeat, you just don't have to do that because you can achieve your results, quite dynamic results, through mere thinking, metaphysical type thinking, and creative imagination systems. And it will give you all the results you can handle. At the time of this writing, my intention is to start you out to make your basic symbols. Now, those of you who have read my other books, and I trust hopefully have made the sets of symbols, just do it again and again and again. You just can't make those symbols often enough in order to impress them upon your subconscious mind, because they are the source of all power on the physical plane. Also, though this is a little out of the subject of the moment, you should always draw tree of life diagrams as given in the art and practice of the occult. Draw them all the time. Keep that in mind in connection with the elemental force symbols. You just can't do it enough. And really, that is all that is necessary. Your subconscious mind does the work, but that is your line of communication to it. Also, maybe again, a little repetitious. I want you to think of these symbols as doors or even windows. Use them as ideas of windows at first. Um, so I'm gonna say real quick, if any of you haven't tried that, like one of the ways I've used that most commonly is like for sigil meditation, where you kind of use as you're meditating on the sigil, you're um, in your mind, you're imagining it to be like a portal, whether it's a window, doorway, however you want it to be, but that you see through. Or shoot. I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's the way everyone's supposed to do it anyway. But a good example is how you do that on the pentagram rituals. But I don't know for some people if they like just envision it through the pentagram, like just a little window, or if they kind of, I don't know, maybe like, because sometimes I've done it that way too, just like testing different stuff, see what's most effective, where like you kind of have the rest of the room as it is, but then like where you've drawn out your pentagram, you're now seeing it like a through you're seeing through a window, and then you're seeing whichever of the angels through that one and the setting. But then I've also kind of tried it where you still see that, but then the setting kind of like still bleeds into the whole whatever direction you're facing. So like just that whole whatever like eastern point of view out of your eyes, and it's like kind of like the focus part though of the setting right there, and then the rest kind of like blurred, like kind of like when you do on your phone for stories or stuff like that with the pictures, and you know how it'll like have have it clear but then kind of blur out to the edges and that certain effect. So there we were. Symbols on the subconscious mind. Oh boy, oh we were down there even. Okay, I want you to think from now on of these symbols as windows, doors into the inner planes, and that is exactly what they are. They are your connections. They are your channels, the channels through which interplane forces can reach you and you can reach them. So then, I repeat, a talisman drawn according to your ideas, in accordance with basic occult knowledge, is a door slash window to inner powers. What else could it be? Or you can think of it as an electric cable running to the inner planes if you want to. Or think of it as a pipeline, a sort of hollow pipe running into the inner planes, which you can reach through and do things there, and then pull things back through to you. Now, these these conceptions, I guess, are a little simple, but for heaven's sake, remember that the simplest occult things generally end up to be the most powerful in many cases. Simple things could be the most powerful because they are very singular and only one. And if you can visualize them being sharpened and moving toward their goal, you can get the idea of how simple things can be very powerful. Yeah, definitely. After you make the four elemental symbols, make your own birth talisman. I have included all 12 of them in the book. Select your own birth sign. You can take it for a model and copy it. But if you have any ideas, add your ideas to the model. Don't be backwards or bashful in doing that because those ideas are you. And if you can do anything to personalize your birth talisman, so much the better. Your ideas wouldn't be my ideas, and vice versa. When you have made your birth talisman and gotten it down well, then I suggest that you make it on parchment. Then keep it wrapped up in a piece of silk and hidden away so that other people can't possibly get their hands on it. Study what is connected or involved in and with or governed by your sign. As the old Bing Crosby song goes, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. Try to do this with you and your sign and avoid the negative aspects of your sign, which you can do if you put your mind to it. And putting your mind to it is the practice of occultism and magic. In making your birth talisman, you are going to add a couple of other characters to the paper talisman model. area. One of them will be called the seal of the planet, and there will be called the signature or sigil of the spirit, and of the other forces that are concerned with the planet. For the time being, don't worry too much about this. Just go ahead and do it from the model. It is just like signing a statement or something. In this case, I guess you're signing somebody else's signature to do something, but it won't count against you as forgery. Not a tremendous amount is known about the signatures, these additional things that you are going to put on. Llewellyn Publications has reprinted The Golden Dawn by the Girl Guide, who, incidentally, is, I hope, a very dear friend of mine. In your books, which you probably should have in your library, for reference sake, there is some information about the signatures and other information pertaining. This is going to give you a link with the name of the spirit. Again, as I told you, the spirit is a combination of elemental forces. And afterwards, when you start making planetary talismans, go back to my book and find out what forces represent the planet. Carry that idea out, and it will add tremendously to your own knowledge and power about the particular planetary force that you are trying to use in the talisman, and also your book knowledge. I don't know what talisman is. That's awesome. So who's going to try it? Who's going to go on the slide? Background music, loud, can't hear you, dub. You came in at the wrong time to say that, but what if it was like that for a real time? If you barely got so good one, I'm good when it just sounds like well, that's all right. It's all right. Because it's all part of the process. It's all part of the working out the kinks. Welcome, Dub. It's good to see you. It's all part of working out the kinks. It's all part of figuring out how we, thank you, Dub, how we get this dialed in so nice and sweet and perfect. Just the way we like it. Cool. Cool. So hopefully you all thought that was fun. Anybody who wasn't here for the live, well, don't you worry. Um, because we are gonna smooth these kinks out. It's not like there's really all that much to smooth out anymore. More just kind of like tiny adjustments. Simple. The same could maybe be said just about your life in general. Maybe you're at a stage right now where you feel like it's just so stuck. So why can't I get past this current predicament? Why do I keep doing this? I know better. I'm sure you'll find. I'm sure you will find if you investigate a little further into that. I'm just gonna need to make a couple small adjustments, really. I mean, at least to start. Definitely, probably just a few small adjustments. Shoot, you might even peel that away a little more and see if there's any other things to be discovered within that. Why are these particular things I need to adjust causing me grief, causing me turmoil? Well, the adjustment I need to make is to my bladder. It is full, but that's fine because we are done. So I'm so happy for everyone who tuned in for this first one. I'm so happy for everyone who's been here to see this channel launching. It's been a lot of fun so far. And you all are such wonderful souls. It's so fabulous to be along for the ride with you all. All right. Well, better just go ahead and say sayonara. This has been Jay Balvell, Ophiel's Art and Practice of Talismanic Magic. We will be hitting you again with another chapter. ASAP as possible. We're going to go ahead and bring it to you. I think the Wednesday thing will probably stick, but I might mix in a little other in there as well. So we can get this Ophiel knocked out. Because you're fine, Zero. Love you. Thank you for being here. The I want to knock this out. I've already been saying it. There's other stuff I want to read, but these Ophiel books are good. They're good, especially for that foundational type stuff. So we're gonna have just about the whole catalog up for everyone to check out. It's gonna be very helpful, I believe. And then afterward, I was thinking, well, I don't know. I'm thinking a few things, but I'm thinking like, I don't know, it's just fun stuff, real fun stuff, because that's what we like to have with this. You know, I like to have fun with this. You guys know, but to the new people, we're gonna be having all kinds of sweet, beautiful new souls tuning in, thinking, hey, this is fun. You're right, it is fun. And we are going to continue making it so. Until next time, everyone. So much love to you all. Have a fabulous night. Have a fabulous rest of the week. It's like the middle of the week, so have a fabulous rest of the week. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe. That's the one. That's the one I was looking for. Okay, bye. All right. Stop streaming, yes.